Hi, how are you?
This is, I don't even get regular Jamie. I get Jamie in space, and that's great. I love that for
Thanks.
us.
Thanks. Everybody likes my background. So, how are you today? Are you doing good? You look happy.
I mean, to be honest, I feel like if you know me at all, you're like, that tracks. He's like overly optimistic for no reason. You're like, yeah. I mean, honestly, I
Well, that's a good
had,
thing.
right. I mean, I had an amazing time, an amazing adventure. I got to learn so much about myself. So, like, although I am no longer on the show, there's like one episode left. Like, for me, like, I did what I came to do. I had an amazing time.
Well, that's good. So, why did you originally, I mean, other than you thought it would be fun, well, and for the money, why did you want to do it? What was the
So for
pull?
me, I was never actually really motivated by the money per se, which sounds odd. I think that as adults in contemporary American society, even you will admit that like we put ourselves in situations that make us feel good. We go places that we enjoy. We surround ourselves with people that like us and we like them because we're like we've been on this earth long enough. Now we can be selective. And in my head, I feel like as a fitness instructor, as a teacher, I'm always like to grow and do something and to like gain what you've never had. You need to do something you've never done. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna practice what I preach in front of all of America. So we did it. And I think that for me, it was all about conquering fears and making myself uncomfortable. Um, for someone like me with a more obnoxious, boisterous personality, to be a man of color, to be a man of color with a speech impediment. There are so many different things where I was like, don't open yourself up to that. And then I remembered that, like, I have 12-year-olds looking up to me. I have clients looking up to me that I tell them to take a chance every day. So who would I be if I did not do the same?
So, talk about how you have changed from the experience, because I know you said at the end that you're different than you thought you were. So, just talk a bit about that and how it's
Sure.
affected you since then.
I think that physically, I was able to overcome some fears of heights, of water, of animals. Like when you're like, okay, but like, how scared were you? I received the call for the show, meaning that I was going to be on the show 3 weeks before I left. I went to the Austin Swim School in Austin, Texas. Shout out. Put swimmies on these arms and started from scratch. I mean, like where I could stand, like I had never done a swim lesson so I had to learn how to not die on national television. And I was like, oh God. So there was that. And then heights, I was afraid of that. I've never really interacted with animals as closely as I did. Hence, like, okay, also, spoiler alert, those iguanas were not American iguanas. Those were some overseas, like elementary school assembly iguanas. So they make them like extra big. And I was like, what is this? So that is those are like the small things. But overall, to be someone like me and to be willing to like meet new people and interact, and even like for someone that like grew up, like I spent all of elementary school in speech classes and speech lessons or whatever else. And I was always kind of told by my speech teacher that she was like, yo, listen, she did not say yo. Anyway, so she was like, yo, listen, there are so many amazing jobs that you can have with your energy and passion and creativity where you don't have to actually like speak or say anything out loud. And I was like, okay, then that means that everything I do from now on is going to involve speaking. And I became an English teacher and I became a fitness instructor. And I was like, this is so scary. But like the sheer idea that I was able to do all of those stuff and stand in my truth and be able to express myself to other civilians, reality TV show legends, and be like, Harvey, I didn't love what you just did. I wouldn't have been able to do that on day one or day two. And
Yeah.
so I got to really leave the island, not necessarily as a different person, but knowing what I was like capable of and really knowing the person that I always was.
That's fair. Now you don't have to be scared of anything, right? Because you conquered all that, so that's the
Literally,
good thing.
I am not scared of anything anymore. I was like, yeah, I'm good now. It's fine.
So, do you feel like the relationships that you made there, I mean, were they real, and do you still interact with these people? And have you? It sounds like you've forgiven, from what I've read, it sounds like you've forgiven Parvati for what she did. So, how's it been since then? Did you still talk to her?
So the Harvey of it all, when I expressed to her how upset I was, that was in the morning before the excursion where we like voted on who was going to do. So I circled back with her that evening and I said, hey, listen. And like, this is what I think one of the best parts of the show is. I didn't even wait for it to like actually air. Later on that night, I was like, hey, lost my mind a little bit this morning. For that, I'm sorry. And I was like, so listen, I wanted to state my case and put this information out there, but I wasn't really willing to listen to and hear what you had to say, which is what you guys saw. But this scene that night did not air. I sat with her alone and was like, so what do you have to say? And we went through it all, apologized on both ends, hugged it out, and moved on. I don't think that really helped the narrative of the show. I think they wanted to drive
Right.
like me versus her until the very end. But like, please understand, on the island, it was resolved and done.
Right. No, I get that.
Yeah, like since we left, I probably speak to 99% of the cast like pretty often, if not
What's
almost every day, like every day. Yeah.
what surprised you the most about the competition, other than the iguanas, maybe?
Everyone loves the iguanas. What surprised me the most, I think it was the actual length of the competition. And I, in making the mistake of reading Reddit and reading Twitter, everyone's like, Philip has been mad at Parvati for 3 weeks. And then I had to actually go back and watch the episodes and be like, those 3 episodes were like 29 hours. And I was like, oh, so like in your head, you
It's
think it's three
longer,
weeks
yeah.
because it took you 3 weeks to get through. But remember, everything from the grabbing the ring excursion through, I want to say like Dr. Will's elimination was like a day and a half. And that was it. Like it
Yeah.
all happened so fast. And like it's so different when you're like, you guys, it was not 3 weeks. I was not mad for 3 weeks. But
Right.
if you really look at it, we're being compared to these reality show icons that have been doing it for 12 years, for 10 years, for Dr. Will 20 years. By this point, the civilians have only been there for 12 days.
Yeah, I'm sure emotions are heightened as well. So
Oh, so heightened.
do you get like approached a lot because you talk about ones who have done it for a long time. Now you're one of these people. So have you seen like a change in that sense, people approaching you, asking about it, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think that what I love is that people are asking me things because they feel comfortable enough with the version of me that they've seen where they're like, this is gonna sound weird, but are you Philip from I'm like, it's not weird, and I am, please. I will shake hands, take photos with anyone. I love that. But I think the real questions that people have been asking, they were like, they've all been asking about the reality TV celebrities. They've been like, are they exactly as they appear on TV? And my answer to that is always they have an ability to play in the game and turn that off and just be a good person outside, which is great and amazing. I don't have that ability just yet for game number one. And the other question is Hazel as amazing as I think she is? And the answer is always yes. Yes, she is.
So, I gotta ask about the last competition when you took.
Sure, let's do it.
First of all, before that, let me ask you about your conversation with David. What did you think watching it back and hearing yourself say, "I don't think anybody who won one of these shows should win"? Now knowing that he did, and do you think that that affected his decision at all, knowing that?
So, from a viewer perspective, it looks like David and I are strangers, which in looking at the edit, that makes sense. But our one-on-one talks, we had them almost every morning since day one, where we would just like sit and talk about stuff like that. And like the only reason, like the only evidence I can offer you on that is that in the last episode, David was like, I think I probably trust Philip the most. And the average viewer must have been like, do you even know that man? But like, I promise you, we talked every day. And we always, and his thing, which like, again, looking back at it now, interestingly enough, ironically enough, his thing was always for me and him of being like, we can't let a reality star competitor take us out because they already have so much at home. Why would we give them more? And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you, dude. I understand it. And at that point, David was still a civilian. And so
Yeah,
like,
you didn't know
do
it.
I regret trusting him? No, because I already knew so much about his life. And like the thing is, David was very careful not to lie to me. He was a model in New York. He had come from Australia. He hosted a YouTube travel show. His wife had some medical issues, so he was also kind of like taking care of her and taking care of the family. He has four kids, I believe, that are all within enough years of each other that he would be putting them through like college pretty one after the other. That's still all true information. That has not like, but it's
Yeah.
just that he didn't mention the years that he was on Survivor. But like, other
Yeah.
than that, I know his life story per se. And so like, I wish I could say I regretted the day I ever like trusted that man, but I was like, we were friends then and we're friends now. Was I really salty about it on that night? Yes. Even breakfast the next morning, fair. But
Yeah.
I think eventually you have to be like, I was the only big physical threat in his way.
Yeah.
And if the season two last excursion ended anything like season one, get all your physical threats out immediately.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you regret, though, I guess, deciding in that last competition to make the deal? Because I don't know, to me, I would have been like, I'm taking that 75 grand regardless of what David says, because then, because you don't know you're going to win the competition, you might not. At least you went home with money. So I don't know. How did you feel at that moment when you were in the competition?
I did not take the deal. The edit makes it look like I took a deal. I never actually respond to him at all. And he's like, how about this and how about that? And I just look straight ahead because I was like, no, no, no. Very much like you just said. I was like, I'm winning that money. Your arms are shaking. I'm winning that money. So it's just a matter of like how I decide to navigate
Yeah,
this in knowing that I've already won this money. Because after he let go, I still hold on for 6 more minutes and hope for one
a
briefcase
better case.
after the one I got. So like I'm holding on for a reason. Like I don't
Yeah,
want everyone to be like, he just like threw in the towel. I'm like, oh no, no, no. I was still holding on. But at that point, I had been holding on for an hour and my shoulders and back were like, sir, you have to stop it. No, absolutely
yeah.
not.
That's quite crazy. It would hurt.
Right. And so for me, I knew that if David was serious, I could kind of give him this olive branch of being like, okay, if I drop now, I'm going to split us both and screw us both.
Yeah.
Or I could at least say, I'm going to get this money and then I'm going to try and get one up there so that at least I can at least like offer the olive branch of, I believe in the interaction that we had this morning.
That makes sense. So what do you think was your, I guess, biggest mistake? And is there anything you do regret that you would do differently?
My biggest mistake is not really starting to play the game till day 3 or 4. And I always played a good individual game. Even if you watch me from episode one, going from lily pad to lily pad, I can't swim still. And so in turn, remember, I still chose that one because I was like, you're not, it would have been much easier for me to take like the path like on the ground. Sure. But I was like,
Yeah.
you can't win like that. And so I still was like, I guess I'm gonna try and conquer that fear of water right now. We're gonna do it. We're just gonna do
On
it. And
live
so
tel
I
or not live television, but television.
yeah. And so for me, I was like, I'm going to navigate this. I've always been a good competitive person individually, but I would have played more of a game of finding alliances much early on and being like finding my ride or die and actually using that group to get further on. The alliance that I made initially on day one with Letty, Seychel, Luke, myself, and Storm. It was an alliance of all civilians. And the issue with that is we just like promised to keep each other safe and out of harm's way. But there's a difference between I will protect you versus I will make decisions that further your game. Those are
Yeah.
not the same. I didn't start to make those decisions till day 3 or 4.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what do you think was your best move then?
My best move was partnering up with Parvati in excursion number 2 because everyone's always like, why was that the choice that you made in knowing how dangerous she is? And I said, when you know the loudest person in the room, when you know the biggest personality in the room, there are two types of people. Either you say absolutely not and you walk away, or you say, I need to stand right next to that person to understand who they are and why they are that way. And that was me. I was like, if there was a big decision made in this game, she was going to make it. And I had to make sure that I was standing right there.
Yeah, probably better not to go against them too. It probably helps you out in the end.
Oh, totally.
But all right, well, we're out of time. But thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hopefully, I mean, I'll see you on the finale, I'm sure, but maybe I'll see you on another reality thing in the future. I don't know. We'll see.
I can only tease you with this. Your boy is not done causing havoc yet. I'll see you soon.
All right, thanks. Have a good day.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye bye.